Look at you, lover boy.
About that evening.
Ah, yes. I never thanked you properly for helping me with the laundry. That storm would have carried it off to God knows where.
Oh, I think you thanked me enough. But next time we should take shelter somewhere else. That hayseed gets into places it shouldn't, and itches like mad.
Henry, you donkey. You really know how to sweet-talk a girl, don't you? And anyway, what do you mean by next time? Just what exactly do you have in mind for the two of us?
Well, we'll be together. Like a couple. And when the time comes, you'll take me as your husband, right?
You're full of yourself, aren't you? But that's not how things are done.
Well, obviously, under normal circumstances,
Hey,
I'd
lad.
ask your pa for your
Don't
hand.
you want a little wager on the rat
Papa.
tourney?
Yes. He'd set the dogs on you. Now you'd have to get Uncle Peshek's blessing.
I reckon I'd have no better luck with him. Unless he saw a way to profit from it.
And I'd have a sack of flour for my dowry. But seriously, Henry, what kind of husband would you make? You can't sit still in one place for an hour at a time.
Well, I've got a lot of duties, but I'm very fond of you, you know. And maybe one day...
I know, you silly sod. We can't get married yet. But we can still see each other and be fond of each other.
I've got something that needs stitching up. Could you do it for me?
All right. I can't have you walking around in torn rags, can I? Show it here. I've got something for you. I got them from Uncle Peshek. Just don't go poking them where you shouldn't.
They're lockpicks. They're not really intended for poking in your own locks.
True, but at least don't get caught. And if you do, you didn't get them from me.
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to.
Listen, Theresa. There's something I ought to tell you.
What is it? What's troubling you?
I'm not quite sure how to tell you, so I'll just spit it out. So Radzik Kobila is... my father.
And King Wenceslas is my cousin. Oh, you really had me going.
No, I'm serious.
What? But, Henry, how on earth could...
I know, it was a shock for me too. It turns out Sir Radzik and my mother had some... romance. Of course, he couldn't marry a commoner.
And your father? I mean the blacksmith. God, that sounds so odd. I mean Martin.
He knew Sir Radzik from way back. Martin... Pa married her before I was born, to protect her reputation, and raise me as his own.
And Sir Radzik allowed it?
Sure. Actually, I get a feeling the whole thing was agreed between them. Sir Radzik was glad she wasn't left alone with a child.
My God, Henry, that's just... And what will that mean for you?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
Well, it all depends on Sir Radzik, doesn't it? As his illegitimate son, I don't have any rights as such. Well, it's not like I've suddenly become a noble like Capon. And even though Sir Radzik has publicly acknowledged me, well, sort of, it hasn't really changed anything.
And if Sir Radzik decided to make a real noble of you, would you want that?
Me become a noble? Fine clothes, hunting, drinking wine from a gold goblet, and stuffed pheasant for breakfast? Ha! Of course! Who wouldn't want it?
I think there's a little more to it than that, Henry. You'd have huge responsibilities.
True. But anyway, it's not important what I want. A bastard will always be a bastard.
I don't know. All sorts of things can change.
Would you still care for me, a common millmaid, if you were a nobleman?
course. I'll always be fond of you. Nothing will change that.
I'll remember that. I hope you won't regret those words.
No fear of that.
The time passes so quickly with you, Henry. Come and see me again sometime. I've got something for you. I hope you won't need them, but...
Thank you. Wouldn't you like...
I'd love to. I love it here by the water. But how come you've been so quiet the whole time? What's on your mind?
You're on my mind.
Oh? In what way?
Well, you know. How pretty you look in that.
Ah. You think I look pretty, do you?
Yeah. Especially when you laugh.
I was afraid you'd say especially when you've no clothes on.
Well, now that you mention it.
Come here, you charmer. Here we are. Thanks for stopping by, Henry.
My pleasure.
I could hear you rattling a mile off in that armor.
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, do you think sometimes about how it was in Scarlet?
How do you mean?
Back then, before everything. When I was taking care of the hens at the mill, taking Sammy his lunch at the mines.
It seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
In the summer, I always took my shoes off and walked barefoot the whole way. And when it was really hot, I'd stop at the stream and stick my feet in the water for a while.
I had to make do with the tub in the yard when I was helping Pa in the forge. You know how hot it gets there in the summer? I always sneaked off if I could, even though I knew Pa would tan my hide when he came home.
I remember that. He was always looking for you all over the village, but you'd be hiding somewhere with Fritz and Matthew. Me and the other girls used to follow you secretly, but we never told your pa where you were. And when he gave up looking for you, the three of you would go off to the woods to beat each other with sticks.
Yeah, we were playing at being knights. Jesus, I used to get black and blue from it. I can still feel some of the blows that big ox Fritz landed on me.
No more playing at nights. Now you're practically a real one.
Indeed, as you say, young damsel, I am the very soul of knighthood.
The noble Sir Henry of Balderdash, the very picture of manhood. Pray, what is your coat of arms, Sir Knight? A beer tankard? A pair of crossed chicken legs?
Such wicked words, you shameless wench. Being a knight is not about symbols, but about deeds. But my coat of arms should be a bolt of lightning above a stable.
I thought a knight was supposed to prove his manhood a bit differently than you with your lightning in the stable. And besides, it is unfitting to talk of such matters, lest there be complaints at the court that Sir Knight is wasting his strength on dallying with village girls.
Forgive me, fair maid. Love for you has clouded my reason.
Henry, you really are a donkey.
Home again. See you again sometime.
Yes, come by again. Have you come to rescue me, Sir Knight?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, Let's play a game.
What game?
A guessing game. I have something with me today, and you have to guess what it is.
All right. You'll have to give me a clue, though.
Fair enough. Here's a clue for you. It's something you'd find in a tavern.
Is it beer?
Oh, I made it too easy for you, didn't I?
So it is beer. Let's be having it then.
Wait, that's not all. Since you guessed right, as a reward, you can choose. Either I'll give you the beer, or I'll reveal one piece of family wisdom our grandfather used to tell us.
Tough choice. All right, I'll take the wisdom.
Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Really, really ready?
Don't leave me in suspense. Tell me.
Right. Listen carefully. This is the wisdom of our family, passed down from generation to generation. When someone offers you free beer, take it.
Well, that's it. All right, you got me. I admit it. Nice one.
At least next time you will be wiser. Anyway, that's all the wisdom I have for you today. It's time me and my beer headed for home. Will you accompany us?
Well, naturally, I couldn't leave such a pretty pair to go alone.
I must go, Henry. Take care. What's the armor for? Are you afraid I'll jump you?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, I don't want to complicate things, but how do you think it will be between the two of us? After all that's happened to us both, you're all I have left in my life. But you've got a lot of work for Sir Radzig and I'm afraid you'll have to leave me too.
Have no fear. I'll never leave you. Wherever my duties might take me, we'll still be together. After all, you're all that's left to me too. And even though everything might change...
Henry, will you promise me something?
Anything.
Promise me you'll take care of yourself, even if you were to go away for a long time and meet other girls. If I were to lose you too, I don't know what I'd do.
Ah, Theresa.
Just promise me.
I promise.
Thank you. I know it's a hard thing to promise, but... You know, well, we ought to be heading back. I still have work to do. Besides, you don't want to see me crying like a baby here.
Definitely not. You'd start me off too.
Right then, let's go. Here we are. Thanks for stopping by, Henry.
My pleasure.
I bet you even sleep in that armor, eh?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Home already? See you another time then.